Your professional life, as you rightly mentioned, has transitioned across various industries, and also you have been, in charge of your own venture. Let us know about your journey and specifically your perspective about the changing consumer needs, especially in e-commerce.
So, Mehul, I would like to spend some time on this question because my professional journey, I believe, is quite different from most of your MBA grads, right? I graduated from IIM Kozhikode in 2014. Post that, I joined Pepsi as a management trainee, and within that management trainee stint, I did a couple of projects between sales and marketing. I'm talking about 2014, where your startup culture was beginning to evolve, right? And I, as a person, wanted to do something in food. I was not sure what I wanted to do. I was not sure when I wanted to do it. The only thing I was clear about was that I want to do something. I want to be a part of this whole startup environment, right? So, as a very small step, the first thing that I could do was start saving money. So I opened another bank account different from my salary account, and I started saving money month on month for my own venture, right? Then I belonged to Chandigarh, and I was stationed in Hyderabad at that time, and I used to frequently visit home. So in one of these visits in Chandigarh, I met a couple of people. There was a conference happening in a co-working space, and there was some discussion happening on food. So I happened to join that conversation. Then I stayed in touch with those people. And cut to 2015 August, I quit from Pepsi. I moved back to my home, and I started working on my own venture. Right. Towards the end of the same year, again, which is like December of 2015. I co-founded a food startup by the name of Postic in Chandigarh Tri-City, right? So Tri-City basically is your Chandigarh, Mohali and Panchkula. So we came up with a cloud kitchen concept, and what Postic stood for was, our objective at that time was to bring out a change in the way health food was perceived, right? The conventional solution that comes to your mind when you think about health issues is that one should eat less and one should exercise more, right? But this does not work for majority of the population, because everybody is going to eat, right? Every day everybody is going to eat, but not everybody can exercise or go to the gym every day, right? So if you want to end metabolic diseases, you have to tap into your people's desire of giving them delicious food, right? So what we did was, we created food which was tasty, which people chose because of taste, and a byproduct happened that the food was also healthy for them, right? So for example, say on my menu I had pasta, but the pasta was made of whole wheat or a semolina, and it had olive oil and it had chicken and all to add carbs, right? So we could give you a 300 calorie meal and give you controlled carbs, and give you higher protein also, right? So whatever your requirement was in terms of health, whether you wanted to control your carbs, whether you wanted to have higher protein, whether you wanted to have lesser calories, all of these we have different menus to cater to the consumer's needs, right? And this is again 2015, when cloud kitchen as a concept itself was very very new, right? E-commerce was new, and then within e-commerce, cloud kitchen is a further niche concept, right? And that too in a city like Chandigarh. So uh, at that time in Chandigarh, we did not have Swiggy, we did not have Zomato. So what we did was, we established our own 360-degree model, where we had our own kitchen to prepare the food. We had our own delivery feed to deliver the orders. We had our own website. We had our own order taking team to take orders and then give it to the chef for preparation, and then that's it delivered to the consumer, right? So in addition to this 60-minute food delivery, the second new concept that we introduced at that time was subscription model, right? So if you are a gym goer, or if you have gone to a dietitian, so we tied up with the dietitians in gyms, right? And we had subscriptions that you can avail. It can be a week long subscription, it can be a 15-day long subscription, basis upon your goal, right? So if your goal is high protein, again as I said, right? So if your goal is high protein, then we will create a customized meal plan for you, and we will deliver it at your specified time, right? So now subscriptions are very common, cloud kitchens are very common, right? So this is, again, 8 years ago, the whole concept itself was niche, and we were doing it in a city like Chandigarh. I think that's both the reasons put together. I think one of the reasons was we could not scale up, because the target addressable market in a city like Chandigarh was limited, right? And because of this reason and multiple other reasons, I had to wind up the business in 2017. And then post 2017 I moved to Bombay for the first 6 months. So once वो बोलते हैं ना कि आपको एक बार स्टार्टअप का कीड़ा काट गया तो आप कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर में ज्वाइन कर ही नहीं सकते, ठीक है. सो कुछ ऐसा ही था. सो फॉर द फर्स्ट 6 months आई वॉज वर्किंग पार्ट टाइम विद माई हस्बैंड. सो माई हस्बैंड ऑल्सो हैज startup. He's the CEO of a fintech startup right now. So I worked briefly with him, and I was also meeting founders of other early stage startups, right, within the food space. I was very clear that if I want to continue, I will continue within the food space. So through my meetings, I ended up meeting Mavericks Platforms, which was backed by Axel Partners, right? And it was founded by very senior people from the industry. Generally, you will see startups founded by very young professionals, 20, 22 years old, right? Now, the three co-founders put together, cumulatively, they had 60 years of industry experience, right? So there was one person who graduated from IIM Bangalore in 1983. There was another who graduated in 1999. So I would say I was extremely lucky, and it was an amazing learning experience to be working with such experienced people and to be a part of a core team with them, right? So it was, as I said, it was an honor to be working. And when you're in a startup, right, you join for a certain role, but you end up doing 10 other things, and by the time you exit, you are working on something else, right? So something like that also happened with me. I joined them as a brand manager for a brand called Fingerlicks, which was into ready to cook, ready to eat, available primarily in modern trade stores. And by the time I exited, I was overlooking their entire cloud kitchen business. So they moved from being a ready to eat, ready to cook FMCG brand to being a cloud kitchen brand and competing with your likes of, say, a Rebel Foods, right? So I'm sure, I don't know if you're familiar with the Rebel Foods or not. So Rebel Foods has multiple brands catering to different cuisines, right? So you will have Lunchbox, you have Fasos, you have Behro's Biryani, you have Mandarin Oak, you have Oven Story. So similar to that concept, they pivoted into being a cloud kitchen brand, having multiple brands under their company, and then focusing on selling them via Swiggy. Now, via Swiggy again, because it was backed by Axel Partners, and so there was synergy between the investors. So this brand completely transitioned into becoming FMCG brand to a cloud kitchen brand, selling in partnership with Swiggy, right? And this was, honestly, if I tell you, this was my second stint with selling online. My first stint obviously is my own e-commerce business, my own website, bringing traffic to my e-commerce, bringing word of mouth, using WhatsApp, using social media, all of that, right? But this was again my second stint with selling online, is because you are selling on Swiggy. On Swiggy, there are hundreds of restaurants. How do you ensure that you are discoverable to the consumer who is browsing through Swiggy, who wants immediate results in front of them, right? Somebody who goes to Swiggy will not browse for minutes. They will make a decision in the next 2 or 3 minutes, right, when they go on Swiggy. So that was my second stint. And I think good for them. Last year, actually, Cure Foods, which is a startup which started by I think Ankit Nigori from Myntra, right? So Cure Foods acquired Mavericks, and today, as of now, Mavericks market presence is, they have 125 kitchens, and they're available across 12 cities, and they have 10 different brands existing as of now, right? So they've made a very good, healthy exit. Um, so that was my second stint in e-commerce, and my last in food, right? So I started with food in Pepsi, then I moved to my own startup, then I moved to another startup. And there was a point in my time I realized that I need to take a break from food. I need to move to second thing that I love the most, which was beauty, right? So I made that shift in 2019. I moved from food to beauty, and I joined Coty to lead their e-commerce charter for professional salon brands, right? So they had brands like Bella Professional, OPI, Sebastian Professional, right? So at that time, in fact, I had interviewed for a brand manager's role, and I ended up joining them for a completely different profile. And I would thank my hiring manager, because it was my first stint working with Amazon, working with a Nykaa, Myntra, Flipkart, and I feel very fortunate to have gotten this opportunity to learn and build my expertise in this space just before COVID hit, right? So during COVID, there were very less number of professionals who were familiar with how e-commerce works, right? So I got this opportunity in 2019, right in time to be able to learn, to be able to test, learn, and grow, right? So I think I'm very, very fortunate in that manner. And the brands that I was working on were primarily salon forward brands, right? So if you go to a salon, only then you will be able to make a purchase. They had no B2C presence. So it was again a 0 to 1 game for me. When I joined them, the e-commerce business was very, very small, and whatever it was coming from distributor managing a business on e-commerce, right? And it was only available on Nykaa. So from there, I worked with them for close to 2 years, and within those 2 years the business grew by more than 100%. And they later also expanded and added more people to the team because they saw potential in e-commerce as a channel, right? So that is my third stint with Koti. After Koti, for a very brief time though, I joined L'Oreal Professional. Again, 0 to 1, I would say, because at that time, in 2021, they did not have e-commerce business, right? They did not have any presence on e-commerce. They were only selling again via salons, right? So I joined them to build their business for beauty platforms. There was another person in the team who had joined to look after the marketplaces, right? Now, because of COVID and changing consumer behavior, they had in fact set up the entire team to build this channel. So from before 2021, they had literally no presence on e-commerce. So there also I got an opportunity to work on e-commerce and build the processes and build the business from zero to the level that I left when I quit, right? So I stayed there for close to a year, and then Bajaj Consumer happened, right? So I've been in Bajaj Consumer Care for over 1.5 years now, and that's basically, I would say, my journey spread across my own venture, spread across food and personal care as a category, and more or less, I would say that all the stints that I have been part of have been in one way or the other specific to digital or the e-commerce space, right? And the second part being that they've also given me the opportunity to make an impact, right? To do something from scratch, or to be able to build something for the organization and drive the larger organization. So that would be, I mean, my journey. I'm sure I've overshoot some time, but yeah.